We're on the road and I want you to listen to this. That's an army of angry squirrels taking me from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 7 seconds. That's in sport mode, one of the 4 modes that you are able to dial up here with this little switch down here in the center console. I like driving this Prius a lot, despite the horrible sound that comes from under the hood when you accelerate briskly. And another thing I don't like sound-wise, I mean, come on, that's the most pathetic sounding horn I've come across in 2 decades. If you're like most Canadians, you have zero interest in a pure battery electric vehicle, an EV. Why? Well, they're too expensive and they're inconvenient. The grid issues are out there, the charging issues are out there, it's just a pain, and so most buyers are looking for something else. And here's an alternative you might want to think about, a hybrid. I'm Jeremy Cato, and this is CatoCarGuide.com. Thanks for watching, and if you have not already subscribed, please do. If I were buying a car today, it almost certainly would be a hybrid. It might even be this 2023 Toyota Prius, which, as you can see, is not the homely dog of a car that arrived a quarter century ago. This Prius looks nice, and we'll talk about that more. But first, let's compare a gasoline-powered Toyota Camry, all-wheel drive, against the Prius right here, also all-wheel drive, but a hybrid. Well, the Prius uses half the fuel, will cost you half the amount to fill up every year, and spits out about half the CO2 emissions. So it's pretty good for the planet, and it's great for your wallet. And by God, this is a good-looking car. I mean, there's a bit of maybe a little Tesla in the rear. Toyota has made it longer, wider, sleeker, modern. The whole idea here is to appeal to buyers who want some style, which is exactly the opposite of the Prius we saw in 1997, when everything about that car was function over form. With this car, it's form over function, and I'll show you why. But first, let's get a bit of housekeeping out of the way. Toyota in Canada only sells the all-wheel drive version of the reinvented Prius. Prices start in the high 30s to the low 40s. And as you're looking at here, this is the limited model, which of course is fully loaded in the low 40s. Power is up a lot, about 60%. Combined horsepower here, 196, versus the previous generation, which is I think around 121, 122 combined horsepower. So there's a lot more juice in this car. And of course, fuel economy has remained just the same. In fact, you are looking at fewer than 5 liters per 100 kilometers to drive this car on a daily basis. It has a 40-liter gas tank, which means every fill-up, about 800 plus kilometers between the next fill-up. No EV offers anything close to that. The styling of this Prius, of course, is a huge story. No longer do you need to drive around town with a paper bag on your head. Instead, you can brag about how this car looks. I like the lighting array. It's a combination of LEDs and projector beams, and the whole package, well, it's pretty cool. These vents up front also open and close depending on the need for cooling for the powertrain. As we move back, well, 19-inch wheels are standard. Yes, the rubber is a bit skinny, but it doesn't seem to compromise the dynamics very much. And then going back further, this very, very sharply angled windscreen, while of course this again is for aerodynamics, and in fact this car has I think a 0.27 coefficient of drag, which is very efficient. And then we move back even further and we see, well, there's a big glass roof up here. It's not a sunroof, but it does bring in tremendous amounts of light. Well, let's go look at the rear end. Here is where I think Toyota's designers have done their best work. Of course, the rear end is sharply angled. You have integrated door handles. I like those. But it's the haunches that really stand out. There's a bit of a muscular bulge here that gives the Prius something it's never had before. Sex appeal. At the tail, we have an integrated spoiler right here, some badging. Yes, this is the limited model. The tail light array, and all in all, the whole car looks complete. It looks as one. I mentioned that Toyota's designers chose form over function, and of course that means compromise. Back here in the cargo area, you'll see what I'm talking about. Yes, I like the hatchback opening. The load height is just fine. The back seat's full flat, but this cargo area itself, it's smaller than the 2022 version of the Prius. And then there's this. I'm getting into the back seat here, and as you can see, well, it's a bit of a problem. I'm settled in, but I most certainly would not want to take a long trip sitting back here. And a couple of other things I noticed. This is the only storage pocket behind the passenger seat. No such thing behind the driver's seat. The back seats are heated, but there are no vents back here, so it's going to get warm on a hot day. We do have a couple of USB ports, and I like that. The climb into the driver's seat isn't exactly a picnic either. As you can see, headroom is also at a premium here. But I do like the overall cabin layout. It's very smart, very intelligent. This is a 12.3-inch screen. We also have a driver display up here. Let me just turn things on. And they all light up beautifully once you get started. Wireless Apple CarPlay is attached here in this tester, and I do like the redundancy of some of the touch controls here. That's a good thing. We also have a couple of USB ports, a regular one and a USB-C, a little bit of storage here. There's also a place to put your cell phone. A little bit of storage area there. Decent seats, not tremendously comfortable, but adequately padded. The thing you'll need to get used to as you sit in this is, of course, the very, very long dashboard, which is kind of a Prius tradition. You'll also need to get used to the small cluster up here, which is something new for the Prius. That is if you are a new Prius owner. All in all, a well-done execution here, including this blue light strip across here. I like it. Toyota has been doing the hybrid dance for a quarter of a century, which means efficiency and reliability are never issues with the Prius or any other Toyota hybrid system. Here we have a parallel hybrid system, which means the gasoline motor, a 4-cylinder engine, and the electric traction motor together work in tandem depending on the needs of the driver. Now in the all-wheel drive Prius, you also have an electric motor between the rear wheels, and that provides that extra bit of traction and acceleration power as needed. The battery, it's under the back seat. Okay, well, you hit the starter button and things start up, which is of course what you'd expect. I'm excited though because this promises to be the first fun to drive Prius in recorded human history. This big A-pillar clearly limits visibility to the left, and its twin over there on the right side, same story. But the rest of the package is terrific. I like the way the digital readout here for the driver information has been laid out. It's very easy to see, and I am tall enough to look over the steering wheel and actually see it. There's a bunch of other things that are available to deal with on the steering wheel. I can dial up, of course, the adaptive cruise control, amongst other many varied and useful safety and functional features with this car. I'm very pleased with the infotainment screen. It's clear, the Apple CarPlay works flawlessly, and I'm also happy to see that the redundant controls down here allow me to punch up either the heated seats or on a day like today, a warm day, the cooled seats. Ride quality? I like it. I'm surprised at how nicely this Prius corners. We're not getting a lot of body roll. We're getting some decent feedback from the steering wheel. Toyota, I think, has created a Prius that is not only functional and environmental friendly, but a pleasure to drive. What we have here then is the best Prius ever. It's a car that I would certainly put on my shopping list. It's affordable, it's efficient, it cuts down on CO2 emissions, and you don't need to worry about charging times. All you have to do is fill it up with regular gas. Thanks for watching. I'm Jeremy Cato, and this is CatoCarGuy.com.